Hello, and thank you for watching this weekly Ag Weather Update, brought to you by Ag Carolina Farm Credit. My name is Eric Snodgrass, and I'm a Senior Atmospheric Scientist and co-founder of AgWeather Incorporated, and I serve as the Director for Undergraduate Studies in Atmospheric Science at the University of Illinois in Urbana-Champaign. Let's start out by looking at the last 72 hours of total accumulated precipitation through late in the night on Sunday night. What we can see is what we discussed in last week's update. We knew that it was going to be a rather dry week across much of the Carolinas here, and we can certainly see that the last 3 days leading up through the weekend were dry as well. In fact, if we zoom in here, we can kind of see a little bit higher resolution picture of this. Where do we get a lot of precipitation? Well, certainly through parts of the Corn Belt, but really getting down into parts of Mississippi, Alabama, and Georgia. That was where we had some pretty decent return flow out of the Gulf of Mexico, plus a lingering boundary in here, kind of set things up to be quite wet. But look, across parts of the Carolinas here, very, very dry. It wasn't really up until you got up to the mountains here where we saw quite a bit of precipitation. Now, when we look at this, our precipitation in terms of the last 14 days in terms of the percent of normal, we can really see that it's only been kind of hit or miss showers and storms across much of the Carolinas that have brought some people some rain. So we can actually see in there quite a bit of drier pockets as we work through the first half of the month of July here. And certainly as you get farther to the north, look up here around, the D.C. area, we're talking about exceptionally dry weather, which has been talked about quite a bit in the news. So let's take a look at this in terms of what the latest drought monitor update came out with. So this was available last Thursday. We can see that parts, getting here Charlotte to the Triad, this region here in the Piedmont has certainly been drier than average. So we're watching that area for a little bit of drought development, but on the whole, when you look at this, what I like to see is that the whole of the southeast is not in drought. Really got to get west of the Mississippi River before we start to see any sort of major drought settling in. So overall, I know some folks, some farmers are seeing some drier pockets in here. We certainly are not seeing widespread drought that would lead to the continuance of widespread drought moving forward throughout the rest of our summer here. Now, certainly got maybe a wetter picture to paint in the longer term here, so we're going to talk about that in the next couple of moments. But I want to give you some other perspective here as well. You see, we're looking here at the first half of the month of July in terms of temperature anomalies. And what we really see here in parts of North and South Carolina is that on the whole, it's been near average. A couple locations a little bit cooler than average, with a couple locations being a little bit warmer than average. But really, this has not been a major temperature stress month so far. But what I want to do for you is kind of compare this to some previous years. So this is 2018. This is 2017. Here's 2016. 2016 was quite interesting because it's kind of a north-south split here across the state of North Carolina in terms of temperature anomalies. But let's get into 2015 and 2014. And here's 2013. Pretty cool start to the month of July in 13. But I got to show you 12 because 12 was really the last time we had some major heat stress to start off the month of July. So that just gives us some perspective along with our precipitation patterns to kind of understand how this July has been evolving. Okay, let's talk about the setup as we get into this week. Here's kind of the bigger picture. We've got a really big upper level low spinning here over parts of Canada. So watch it as it animates again. That upper level low is going to be bringing in the first of several fronts. Are we finally moving toward the southeast, getting over North and South Carolina by midweek this week? It's kind of interesting too. If I pause this right here, this is actually the remnants of Beryl. Remember we talking about Beryl a while ago? Well, Beryl kind of went right through here and kind of still sitting over here spinning well off the east coast. But this is going to be our setup. We got to be watching this system here as it pulls on through and what that's going to be doing for precipitation here across North Carolina in the coming days. So Monday, Tuesday, what are we watching? Well, here is the fronts as they move farther to the south. And this is going to begin what will be a pattern that's going to be favoring a lot of heat way out west and more seasonable temperatures across the eastern third of the country. So it looks as though Monday, you're going to get through much of the day on Monday relatively dry. We're going to have to wait till these fronts kind of finally push into this area Monday night, Tuesday night to kind of bring in the higher percentage chances of precipitation. To show you what temperatures are going to be doing, you're going to start off the week warm. Okay, we're going to see temperatures here along the coast here getting deep into the 90s. But see the cooler air moving in? There it is. So we just kind of watched this out. This was kind of hour by hour getting us all the way to Thursday around 8 o'clock in the morning. And what you really saw, if I just kind of step back, is while we will stay relatively warm here, of course, seeing high temperatures in the low to mid 90s, we will be seeing some cooler air sagging in with these fronts midweek, where it will be staying very warm, will be far to your west here in the south central plains over Texas, and then, of course, getting up into the Pacific Northwest. So if we take a look at total accumulated precipitation from one of our higher resolution models, what you're going to see is we're going to start this off at around 7 a.m. on Monday. as I kind of play things forward here, you're going to get through much of the day on Monday relatively dry. Some precipitation up here in the mountains, but unless you kind of get hit with the stray thunderstorm, most of the models are picking up on a lack of that on Monday. We're going to have to wait till the front comes through once we get through the day on Tuesday. So how we go through the day on Tuesday into Wednesday, and then you can see the chances for scattered showers and precipitation kicking up. But again, this is a situation where not everybody gets rain, so we're going to still see those drier pockets as that front finally slides through, bringing in the chances for showers and storms for the Carolinas. Now, just to show you some kind of intermodal comparison here, what I've got is the ECMWF, and I just want to point out here, overall, because of the way that the model's picking up on the hit or miss nature of the showers and storms as that front slides through middle of the week, we're not bringing in copious amounts of precipitation. So the half-inch colors right in through there, so you can see that it's going to be a hit or miss situation. But that will be changing. We got to talk about what those changes look like here. But first, just want to get you through the end of this week. Because the fronts come through, overall, we see near average temperatures throughout much of kind of the southeastern coast here. So near average temperatures overall. Where's the heat going to be? It's going to be tucked way back into Texas. We do see, because of the drier way we start the week and the hit or miss showers that are coming through, the longer range models are kind of picking up here on a dry bias as we get our way through Friday of this week. But that's where things begin to change. So check this out. I'm going to start this next animation Wednesday morning. We're going to let it carry out Wednesday morning through the next 7 days after that. Now, as I wrote up here, this pattern's not 100% nailed down, but what I want you to watch is you're going to be seeing the dominance of a big lower level. This is a near surface, big high pressure system spinning off the East Coast. And why that's key is it's going to be close enough to the U.S. to be pumping moisture right up in through the Piedmont and right here just east of the Appalachian Mountains. Now watch this, okay? So here we go. This is now getting us through Friday. We have a system coming through the Midwest by the time we get into Friday and Saturday. That's going to drag a front that's going to come through. There it is. That's going to come through the Carolinas by the time we get Saturday, Sunday. So that's our weekend storm potential setup. Now watch this, though. I'm just going to animate this out through the end. You just keep an eye right in through this area. Here we go. Do you just see kind of repeated chances there for shower and thunderstorm activity? Why is that? See this massive high pressure system over here? When this sets up, we just get a lot of flow like this, and that just gives you wide open Gulf of Mexico and Western Atlantic moisture. And as that comes through, it just really increases the chances of precipitation here along the southeast. Now, if we time that, if we kind of look at that with the timing of the overall pattern, we'll then be able to put together a picture of what our next 2 weeks looks like in terms of total accumulated precipitation. So here we go with the pattern. Monday morning, starting things off, here's the upper level trough bringing that big cyclone through parts of Canada, draping that cold front through here. But what I want you to see is, where does the ridge go? So as I animate this out, just watch it. Troughs are in blue, ridges are in the warmer colors there. And we're continuing to see the same thing setting up, which takes this ridge way out west. And if that happens, that tends to give us more normal, temperatures closer to average, maybe even some cooler time period, as I'm kind of outlining here the overall flow pattern of that trough as we get through. This is all the way through the 30th of July. Now, this is not saying that every day is going to be cool. That's not what this is saying. This is just saying the overall flow pattern is forecast by the European model run in ensemble mode. That's where we run it 51 different times. Keeps picking up on this pattern. And this is way different from the years where we have major heat stress. On those years, a huge ridge builds here, and we're not getting that. So that's important to see. So what do I mean? When we put this all together, let's just take a look at it. Here is your next 15 days looking at precipitation anomalies. And what we're picking up on here is overall, once we get through a bit of our drier week this week, now there will be thunderstorms this week, but a drier week overall, look at this. We see a wetter pattern overall, and that is thanks to this dominating high pressure center that's going to be sitting off here, pumping and its clockwise flow around it, that moisture into the Carolinas. So this is the long-range European model. This is its 51-member ensemble picking up on this pattern. So what this tells me is, does this tell me that it's going to be super wet? No. What this is telling me is the flow pattern is not set up to allow for the continuation of the development of any sort of drought conditions. And that's good news for agriculture in the Carolinas, okay? So that's what I want to paint the picture for you here. All right, what I want to do to finish this up is usually during summer, I don't talk too much about El Nino and La Nina, and that's because El Nino, La Nina, that's a Central Pacific Ocean feature that's way out here, and it tends to not have a strong correlation with the weather patterns across the eastern part of the country when it is summer, okay? Winter's a little bit different story, and that's what I'm actually showing you right now. We're projecting that, over the next 6 months or so, to see the development of warm sea surface temperatures riding through this area, and this is the El Nino region. We call it the ENSO region. That's El Nino and Southern Oscillation. And when it's in its warm phase, we call it El Nino. When we see these warmer waters here, this could have an implication for our wintertime weather. So we're going to just talk about it now and just keep bringing it up, every once in a while to make sure that we see some sort of consistency in the overall forecast. But with that, I think I'll go ahead and wrap up this forecast video. We at Ag Carolina, thank you for your attention. Hope you look forward to our next video update coming out next week. Thank you.